Welcome to Shamu and you, exploring the world of reptiles. Let's start off with Shamu asking you, what would your world be like if you were a reptile?
I wish I were a bird. I'd be a fish. I'd like to be a reptile. I'd like to be a mammal. What do you want to be? If you were young but not a child. If you were at home living in the wild. If you were something other than you are. Just imagine, just pretend, just what your world would be. If you were over 10 feet tall. If you would stop traffic at the mall. If you were something other than you are. Just imagine, just pretend, just what your world would be. If you were big, yeah, that too. Just imagine, just pretend. Just imagine, just pretend, if you were a reptile.
They look like something from a horror movie. They conjure up nightmares of prehistoric monsters. And you know all they want to do is bite you. Or just crawl on you. They're the reptiles. And while most of the time they've usually been the hunted instead of the hunter, they have lived on our planet millions of years. Because reptiles are hatched to survive.
If I was an alligator, I would live in a swamp, and every time I see an animal, I would eat it. If I see a rock, and I would leave it alone.
If I was a marine iguana, I'm a reptile, and I would be able to go on land or in water.
If I was a blood constrictor, I'll slide around the sand. I don't even know what a reptile is.
Now presenting the reptile.
That's a bird, not a reptile.
Gotta love 'em, the reptile.
Kangaroos aren't reptiles, they're mammals.
Here he is, the reptile.
A fish is a fish, not a reptile.
Is there a reptile in the house?
Yes, there is. That's a reptile. At one time, reptiles ruled the earth. But today, all that are left are snakes, turtles, crocodilians, lizards, and a strange reptile that few of us have ever heard of, the tuatara. They may be smaller in number, but today's reptiles have survived when other animals have disappeared forever.
Reptile champions.
If you were a python, you'd be the world's biggest snake. You could weigh as much as 400 pounds. And you'd stretch out 30 feet. Now that's one long snake. If you were the world's biggest lizard, you'd be the Komodo dragon. But do you know what reptiles are best at doing? Reptiles are champions at living to a ripe old age. Some say that crocodilians can live 50 years. Others say that the strange little tuatara can live over 100 years. But the all-time champ is the tortoise. One tortoise tortoise was said to be well over 175 years old. That may be more legend than fact. But reptiles really are hatched to survive. What's the difference between a tortoise and a turtle? Well, a turtle can live a lot of its life swimming in water. And a tortoise is really a turtle that spends most of its time crawling along the land. That's a fascinating fact. If you could be a reptile, what reptile would you want to be?
Python, because it eats weird things. It eats rabbits, and it eats all kinds of things that we wouldn't really like to eat.
Pythons are the world's largest snakes. They live in the jungles of Africa and Southeast Asia. Pythons can reach lengths of over 30 feet. That makes the python just a nose and a flick of the tongue longer than its South American cousin, the anaconda. Pythons and anacondas both hunt in much the same way. They can climb trees in no time at all, then wait patiently in ambush. But they don't always have to wait for their meals. These huge snakes are also very good swimmers, and they move pretty fast on land as well. If you were a python, how would you catch your food?
I'll just get it and I'll bite it, and then I'll wrap around the neck. I'll wrap it around the neck and squeeze it.
Well, a python doesn't really strangle its prey around the neck. Once it wraps around something, the snake's grip simply tightens and tightens. And every time its victim takes a breath, that grip gets a little tighter. Until there's no more room to breathe. Then the python takes a leisurely meal. A long leisurely meal. Since snakes have to swallow their food whole, this one only has a bird to gulp down. But some stories tell of pythons swallowing up an animal as large as a leopard. What if there was a race between reptiles? Who do you think would win the crown for speed champion? Snakes can move fast in water or on land. And lizards can certainly scamper along quickly. And what about the slow turtle? Remember what happened when his cousin the tortoise raced the hare? Who'll be the fastest reptile? Let's find out. And they're off. I said, they're off. The snake crawls out fast, but hot on his very long tail is the lizard. Some lizards can run as fast as 18 miles per hour. Sounds like a winner. But what about the turtle? The turtle's going to need a miracle to win this race. Wait a minute. The snake is stopping to bask in the sun. Now, the lizard's pulled over to chase a meal. That means the turtle can win. The turtle can be champion. The turtle is asleep. We'll keep you posted on the progress of this exciting race, if anyone ever moves again. If you were a reptile, you probably wouldn't move much either. That's because reptiles are cold-blooded. That means a reptile's body temperature is as warm or as cold as the air around it. If you were a reptile, you wouldn't have fur or feathers to keep you warm. So, you'd lay in the sun to heat up your body. Not a bad way to catch some rays. And if you get too hot, no problem. You'd just find some shade to cool down. Being a reptile would be great if you'd like to lie around and not do anything. You wouldn't even have to eat. some reptiles can go months and months without eating. Of course, if you don't move much, you could be a sitting duck for a hungry passerby. So reptiles use camouflage to protect them. Camouflage helps reptiles blend in with their background, so predators have a hard time spotting them. It's just another way that reptiles are hatched to survive.